What's up, Dragon Brood? So today we're doing a very quick review. I waited a day because I thought there was going to be more cards coming out, but it turns out this weekend, I don't know, Wizards held out on us a little bit. So there's only, maybe 5 cards or something we can even talk about today. That's fine. Tomorrow, Monday, should be the last day, I believe, for M21 previews before they get into Jumpstart. If you want me to cover the Jumpstart cards, just let me know. We can possibly do that as well. This is just something I'm doing because I know standard relevance, everybody would want to know about them. But yeah, I'm totally up for doing Jumpstart. Just let me know down in the comments. Also, remember, if you haven't, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel because that helps me out so very much. But let's get into today's cards. This first one here, we've got Hooded Blightfang. 2 colorless, 1 black, which seems to be a very popular casting cost for black cards in this set. It's a snake, Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch attacks, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. When a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. This card is a 1/4. I like a lot of the words on this card. I think when we started talking about different things like Death Touch, Menace, Vigilance, in Ikoria, there just weren't enough cards to make those themes super powerful. It was hard for them to push the envelope, compared to a lot of the other types of stuff that was out there. In this case, this actually gives a very big tool to the Death Touch decks. I think this could be pretty awesome. And, just attacking drains your opponent, that's sweet. And then, if you go to attack a planeswalker, your opponent's incentivized to block. Even if you only have a 1 or 2 power creature with Death Touch, they almost have to start trading their creatures off. They can't just sit behind them and build up their planeswalker. And that's really cool too. And the card's easily splashable. So even if you're playing a deck that's not black heavy, maybe it's Jund colors or Sultai. I don't know why I almost said Simic, but Sultai for some reason. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on what the format starts to look like. But it's cool to know that this is even an option. So definitely something we can keep in mind for the future. Cool card though. I like the design of it. All right, I'm gonna let y'all know when this got previewed, man, I was just thinking, I've been asking for this forever. I've been writing postcards. I felt like that jilted lover that's been writing love notes off in the mail and nobody's ever responding or sending anything back. That's what it felt like. I've been thinking, man, if we could have just had Scavenging Ooze for the last month and a half, 2 months, oh, this card is so good, so good. This is exactly the card that the green decks have been wanting, especially the aggro decks. I mean, because think about it. It takes away some of the benefit of Elspeth Conquers Death. It stops. Well, actually, let's read the card real quick. All right. So, Scavenging Ooze. It's a green, a colorless. It's a 2/2. It's an ooze, obviously because of its name. Pay 1, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, you put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze and you gain a life. So this card does so much in so many spots. It's main deckable if you want it to be. It can remove Uro, which is awesome. Gets rid of cats and stuff whenever they're going to try to get them out of the yard. That's a thing you can do. It gains you life against red decks. Not a lot of life. You usually gain 2 or 3, but it's a thing. And if it doesn't get dealt with after 2 or 3 activations of removing creatures, you just have a sizable beater. This card is great. It's so good. Even if you're playing Commander or whatever, this is a card that works great in that format. This is exactly the type of card we've needed in Standard. And this is the fun thing, is that it didn't even need to be a new card. We already had the design, just make it available. So yeah, congrats. This golf clap. That's what we need here. Okay, I was having fun with the Elder Gargaroth a couple days ago or whatever. And I like that card. It's fun. It's doing big things. But this card is really what we need to help balance out things and really help shape the formats. So very good, kudos. Lots of good things to say about the Scavenging Ooze. Palladium Mirror. It's a 3-mana 2/2 that taps for 2 colorless. There's not really a lot to say about it. I don't even know where this fits or if it needs to be in anything, but I guess it's cool. It taps for 2 colors. It's a neat limited card to have, but yeah, it just kind of is what it is. Okay, this one, we're just going to have to go line by line and just talk about this card. So, Sublime Epiphany. It's a 4 colorless, 2 blue, so 6 mana, instant, rare. Choose 1 or more. Counter target spell. counter target activated or triggered ability, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, creature or create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Target player draws a card. This is strong. Like, it is 6 mana, so I mean, you know, can't sleep on it. It's a real thing. But I mean, imagine playing this and your opponent plays a spell strike. Cool, I'll target that, and I'll counter it. You won't get to counter the second one, most likely, unless some weird reason they activated a thing and then played a spell on top of it. So like maybe some rare instance, but not often. But the rest is like return a target non-land permanent, create a copy of a creature. Like, there's a chance you might get 4 abilities out of this card for 6 mana regularly when you cast it. Like, that's wild, right? Like, even if you're playing something like, say, Wilderness Reclamation or something, right? Like, it's possible you even get to just copy your Uro and get an extra card and 3 life out of the deal while doing all the other things. Like, it's a crazy card. Obviously, you can't play a lot of it because it costs 6 mana. So unless you're playing a huge rampy thing, it's not necessarily what you want. But it is maybe possible that if you're playing some blue-green aggro something that you want something to do with your mana in the late game, not only does this protect you by being a spell counter and countering abilities, it actually does a bunch of other things too. So I expect this card to see play, but maybe no more than 1 or 2 in most decks. Radha, Heart of Keld, 1 colorless, red, green, legendary elf warrior, 3/3. As long as it's your turn, Radha has first strike. You may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may play lands from the top of your library. Pay 6, that's 4 colorless, a green and a red. Radha gets XX equal to the number of X, where X is the number of lands you control. So this card is neat. First off, I like it because the last pass of Radha wasn't as exciting, and I tried squeezing into a couple of decks and it was okay. But this is one I feel like actually has a home and can do some things. For starters, you know, at some point we are going to lose our Zerta goblins and our Gruul spellbreakers and our Gruul decks. So it's like, we're going to need replacements. And this is actually one worth considering. Granted, she's legendary, but getting a first striker's nice. Getting the ability to play lands off the top of your library is great. The other thing to pay attention to is Radha plays exceptionally well with Vivien Monster's Advocate. Since you can already see what's on top of your library anyway, you can play a creature off the top. If there's no creature, you can play the land to remove it and give you an opportunity of playing 2, 3, or maybe more cards off the top of your library. That's nothing to turn your nose up at. It's very, very cool. Now, admittedly, she doesn't let you play extra lands. She just lets you play lands from the top of your library. Now, admittedly, there's some people saying like, oh, well, I'll put Radha with a Souza and that'd be great. But the truth is, I think if you're trying to do big things and trying to be aggressive, I don't think Radha is necessarily the card you want if you're trying to play a Souza. I think if you're trying to play a Gruul beatdown aggro deck, then a Souza is not really the card you want. So do they live together and play together? Maybe, I don't know. But my initial thought is I would probably play Radha in a more aggressive deck and make use of it. Because even though you aren't going to necessarily be doing something huge with that much mana that you're going to get over time, you will at least be able to keep your cards fresh on the top of your deck so you're getting more threats instead of lands. And well, that's it. There wasn't a lot to cover. Like I said, there was 5 cards since the last video, so not a lot to really discuss there. I'm expecting some type of big card dump on Monday, so we'll cover that. And then later this week, if y'all would like to see it, let me know. I will throw out some different deck ideas using some of the cards from M21 as kind of a starter place. You know, we'll build some deck lists for things that we may decide to play, crossing our fingers that we get emailed back about being in the early access event. So that could be very cool. And I'm going to need to build deck lists anyway. So if y'all would like to see those deck lists early or start some conversations about possibly new deck lists, let me know down in the comments below. And I will try to brew some things up that we can have some discussions about, because that's always fun. Anyway, remember to like this video, subscribe please, hit that notification bell, and we'll see what the rest of the cards are that they drop on us on Monday. And that's all I have for now. We'll see you next time.